A key test for U.S. President Joe Biden. He faces mounting criticism for failing to respond to the migrant crisis at the border with Mexico. The thousands of people are arriving at the border each day, with many packed into border facilities. President Biden will face some tough questions on immigration in his first press conference since taking office later this week. During his election campaign, President Biden pledged to erase what he called a moral and national shame at the borders. Well, Simon Marks joins us now from the U.S. Capitol. Now, Simon, what is behind the surge in migrants at the border?
Well, that's a real bone of contention, Atelli, between the political parties here, with President Biden now being assailed for essentially this surge of illegal immigrants that have flooded into the country in the weeks since he became president of the United States. His critics say he should have been aware that this was going to happen, partly because those migrants crossing into the United States in large numbers say that they believed that the United States was going to adopt a more humane immigration policy under President Biden's leadership, and that he essentially would welcome them to the country. Neighboring countries warned the White House that this pent-up demand to cross the border existed and that there was likely to be a flood of new entries by illegal immigrants the second President Biden took office and relaxed some of the restrictions that had been put in place by his predecessor, President Trump, during his term in office. But the Biden administration defends itself and says, look, we are returning to a situation where our immigration policy is still tough and strong. We're telling people not to try and come to the United States, but we are tinging that policy with the traditional humanity that it's always been imbued with, barring the last 4 years when Donald Trump was running things in the United States. But the big question that exists and is unanswered is, how are the authorities on the southern border going to cope with a situation where resources are now stretched to the limit and new facilities are not being built rapidly enough to house the thousands of people entering the country?
Now, all this happening while the Biden administration is going to be sending key officials to the border and key Latin American countries. What's the plan there?
Well, the real need is to communicate to those people trying to cross into the United States that they're still not welcome to arrive in the United States. That certainly there have been some asylum seekers now being admitted because the Biden administration has reversed a Trump-era policy that forced them to wait in Mexico for their asylum applications to be processed rather than entering the United States. But what the Biden team needs to do, and the White House concedes this as much as critics chide them for not doing enough so far on the issue, is simply to convey very clearly to those people traveling north from Honduras, El Salvador and Guatemala that the smugglers who are promising to bring them into the United States are lying about the welcome that they will get, that there is still every risk that they will be captured and deported from the United States and not allowed to stay on American soil. That message has not been getting out in neighboring countries, and the Biden White House is under pressure to make it very clear over the next few days.
All right, thanks very much, Simon, for speaking to us on the U.S. migrant crisis.